Alright, guys, let's do a mic check. Can y'all hear me on YouTube and on TikTok? That is the first question. Can everybody hear me okay? What the world? Awesome on TikTok. How about YouTube? Are we good on YouTube? That's the biggest thing. If somebody wants to hop over there and let me know too, you guys can. I know it's a little bit delayed over there. I just want to make sure we get everything fixed and set up before we get going. We do set the goal up over here. There we go. All right, we got a goal set up on YouTube. All right, thank you, Tough. I appreciate it, bud. All right, we're good on both. Thank you, guys. We got a goal on YouTube today for super chats. If we hit that goal, there's 10 of them. We'll do a giveaway. If we hit our goal on TikTok, as always, we'll do a giveaway as always next week. So with that being said, guys, welcome back. We did not get on live stream yesterday. Had a lot of stuff going on yesterday. Just too busy. We're kind of waiting for things to see how things were going to unravel with the tropics yesterday. Not too much severe weather happened yesterday either. Today we got a lot going on. We have Invest 93L, you guys can see spinning on your screen here. A lot of details have really started to evolve with this tropical system going into the next couple of days here. And as my confidence kind of increased over the last couple of days on us getting potentially a tropical system, it looks less likely now that we may or may not get a storm. So we're going to have to wait and see right now. I'm sure you guys have probably seen on social media people that have no idea what they're talking about, or people that don't do weather content on a daily basis or at all have been saying that there's already a Hurricane Dexter and there's already a Tropical Storm Dexter. No, we have an invest. There's no tropical depression. There's no tropical storm. There's no hurricane right now. We are still watching an invest here. That's where the National Hurricane Center is investigating. So be very careful who you guys watch on social media, because there is sporadic, and I mean sporadic like wildfire, false information going around on social media right now, and it's absolutely, it just sucks. So this is something I have to battle every single hurricane season. We've even got weather content creators, some of them out there, that are actually also spreading false information. Good thing is none of them I know personally, but anyways, just be mindful of who you guys watch and see out there. Brandy, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for all the gifts. You guys are freaking awesome. I appreciate it. The biggest thing, guys, that I am trying to push right now, if there is anybody on TikTok that has not subbed to me on YouTube, make sure you guys do sub to me on there. I am trying to grow our memberships. We are still about 4 memberships on YouTube so far. It's a paid thing, so if you become a member on YouTube after you subscribe for free, it's like $3 a month. I think something like that is what it's set at. But you get access to membership-only videos, membership-only live streams. I really want to start rolling those out the second we get 10 members over there. So if you were interested, you got $3 or $4 and you want to spare it, head over to YouTube, become a member. It is one of the best ways to give back, and it helps me and helps get the algorithm out there and helps push us out there. So unlike TikTok, the algorithm's a little bit easier to push out clearly. So I do appreciate you guys as always. We're gonna kind of walk through this. We're gonna be on here for quite some time today. We're gonna be talking about the tropics. We got severe weather to cover in the plains today. Kind of a double whammy here in terms of what we're watching. Now we've got a lot of flooding ongoing in Florida right now as well, from this just collage of thunderstorms here. You can actually see, let me get up here and pull up where our actual center is. Let me get my handy dandy pin app up here. This currently is where you're going to see it move. This is where our center is currently at, maybe. Maybe we'll get to draw it on here. If not, then bear with me, guys, for just a second here. Okay, so this map is not going to let me draw, which is interesting. Interesting. Hold on just a second. I may have to close it back up and reopen it. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. We're going to have some technical difficulties today. I need this so that way I can draw and you guys can see what we're talking about.
Bear with me here for just a moment.
I wonder if it's because I'm using tidbits. There we go. All right. Here's our low. It's spinning. It's already made technically quote unquote landfall, if you want to call it that. This is, like I said, an invest. It's not a tropical depression. It's not a tropical storm, and it's definitely not a hurricane. The problem with our system, this looked a little bit more healthier yesterday. You can clearly see the rotation here, the low level center. We've also got your mid level center that's kind of displaced a little bit further to the south. We've got a lot of models that have changed now, where this is basically moving further to the northwest, and what a lot of the models models are picking up now is on that northwest movement. And so we may see this thing move north and become absolutely nothing. We may see this thing move back over waters. I still think there's a really good chance that that could happen. It's just going to be a very, very short and limited time. Now, there still is time for things really wonky to happen. We could see this thing go south, whatever. It's a tropical system, so it really has its mind of its own. It's not based off of model runs. It's not going to go off of what models are saying. And in general, models are really underdoing on what we've already seen with this system. So basically, all we have to really do right now is watch satellite, kind of figure out what's happening with it, watching our storm spin. There still is a northwesterly kind of movement here with this, more west than northwest now, but the further north this goes, the better shot this has of absolutely being nothing but a heavy rainmaker. We're going to get rain regardless in the southeast from this event. Doesn't matter if it becomes a named storm or not. If this were to get a tropical storm status, it would be clearly Dexter, and that would probably bring about 40 to 50, maybe some 60-mile-an-hour winds up towards the southeast corridor here in the Gulf. But then on top of that, we'll probably have a little bit of storm surge. But really, in all honesty, I want you guys to understand this is a big teaching moment here. I talk about this a lot when we don't have hurricane season going on because somehow, you know, we bring up conversations in the past about hurricanes, all that stuff. You don't need a named storm, guys. You don't need a tropical depression or tropical storm to cause bad events to happen. And so if we go back and we watch what happened in Texas, if we go back and watch New Mexico, Pennsylvania yesterday, New Jersey yesterday was underwater, the subways were underwater in New York City yesterday from the flooding. You don't need a major event or a major big storm to cause problems. This storm is going to be moving slow enough. It's going to be moving into a favorable environment. If it gets into that favorable environment, things can happen, development can happen. But even if it doesn't, this rain's going to push somewhere and it's going to move towards the western portions of the panhandle of Florida. It's going to move into Louisiana. Louisiana is already sitting in a level 3 out of 4 risk for flash flooding on the day 4 outlook, which is rare itself to have happen. So we are expecting pretty significant rainfall to fall in the state of southern and central Louisiana, maybe even into southern Mississippi and western Florida, where flash flooding is going to be the big issue, and that's really what's going to be the issue at all this. We'll have the threat for some tropical tornadoes probably going closer as this system makes its mind up what it's going to do. But really, like I said, in all honesty right now, guys, all we can do is watch satellite, watch how this storm moves. The storm is struggling. You can see all of the convection is mostly on the north side of the low here. The low being up here just to the west of Jacksonville. It's where it, quote unquote, like I said, made landfall this morning. What we're noticing is there's still a pretty decent amount of shear up here on the northern side of the low, which is what's keeping the system from organizing convection. And typically when you see a lopsided convection low, or whatever you want to call it here, it's not going to strengthen rapidly. It's not going to be able to get itself together when you've only got one side of the low with convection on it. So that's going to be why this storm is struggling to get itself together. So we're going to continue to watch this. We're going to be on here, like I said, all day today. It's just watching satellite. We'll get another National Hurricane Center update at 8 p.m. Central Time tonight. They are scheduled to go in tomorrow, so we will have live coverage all day tomorrow. We're going to start pretty early tomorrow morning because we're going to start getting airplane recon. We're going to have the hurricane hunters going in there twice tomorrow. They'll be getting real-time data. We'll be watching those soundings, those sensors coming in to give us an idea of what the environment's like, what we're looking at with our storm. And tomorrow will be a really interesting day in watching and observing how this system evolves from potentially nothing maybe into something, or it maybe stays nothing. So best case scenario for all of you guys in the southeast is this low goes north and stays off the waters. It doesn't have time to develop. Worst case scenario, this goes back out into the ocean here, which a lot of the models do still have, and we do get a tropical depression or tropical storm. But like I said, regardless of what this becomes, heavy rainfall is going to be the biggest problem, regardless of if it goes inland or stays out into the waters. And right now, it's going to go west more than likely. It's just we're watching it to kind of see what's going to happen here. I'll pull up another thing. We'll go up here. This is another, if you guys can also check this website out, it's called Tropical Tidbits. It's free to use if you're a weather nerd or you want something to look at. This is something you guys can use. I use it. All the stuff that I show you guys is usable by all of you guys that watch. Like I said, here's just another, image of what this looks like. Very lopsided. We're starting to see some more deep convection here. So this is really interesting to watch. I'm wondering if we get this deep enough convection, if it's going to re-pull or try and pull our low further to the south here. And if that does happen, it gives it more time over water. So it's really, like I said, about observing, watching what's going to happen here. We've just got a lot of different things to kind of observe over the next 48 hours to 72 hours before this thing does make landfall somewhere in Louisiana or the western side of Florida here. Do we have issues coming to Pensacola? Yes, so flooding is going to be the biggest threat. We'll talk about what those totals look like here in just a moment, but a little bit of wind. It's just going to be the rip currents on the beaches, guys, are going to be pretty rough too, so unless you know how to swim in strong currents, I wouldn't advise swimming in the ocean off the Gulf over the next couple days. Anytime we get just a low in general off the Gulf, it's going to cause problems in terms of the rip current. So just something to be mindful of as well. We'll get into what the totals and stuff look like here in just a minute. We're just going to kind of walk through the digestion of what we're looking at here. Let me go back to 93L. Like I said, low is the latest update. This will update again. Already moved inland. We already know as of that's where that's happening at. Here's an updated spaghetti model run, and we did see that shift a little bit further to the north. So clearly here's where our low is at right now. This is projected to continue to move a little bit further north, but like I said, storms don't go to what models say. So like I said, we have to watch very, very closely here what our low does, because like I said, the low doesn't care what the models say. The low is going to go where the low wants to go. If here's two different scenarios that we're looking at, right? I mentioned this earlier. If this low tracks further to the north and does go with the ensembles here, we have less time over water. Therefore, a named storm probably may not happen. There's still a chance that it could get itself going between Louisiana landfall and Mississippi here. There's just a lot of details to figure out. So it's just a very, very confusing thing here. But worst case scenario, and if everybody wants worst case scenario, we'll talk about it here for just a second. I'm trying to lose my mind here for a second. Worst case scenario here, the low pressure redevelops further to the south down here once it moves back over water, and we have just ample sea surface temperatures here. So that would kind of be worst case scenario. So I don't think that's going to happen. You never know. But it's a scenario we're watching just in case, worst case scenario comes push to shove. We get a named storm and potentially a strong tropical storm moving towards, Louisiana. We've had strong tropical systems move into areas and cause, not great problems. You guys know that Hurricane Harvey was a lower end hurricane, caused catastrophic flooding. It didn't move, stuff like that. Like, we've had events where flooding happens. So something to make notice of here in terms of what we're going to be seeing over the next couple of days. Is that Kate that's in chat? I think. What's up? Good to see you in here. I haven't seen you in forever. Hope you are doing well. I think that is. Yeah, that is. What is up? What is up? But yeah, something we'll watch here. We had an unwarmed spin up earlier. Did we really? I just got on, guys. So, I've been watching radar a little bit today. So we'll kind of see what happens. That doesn't shock me either with tropical systems if we get unwarmed spin ups, not whatsoever on that end of things. We're gonna be covering, yeah, guys, we're gonna be starting now. Basically, we're gonna be in coverage mode for most of the day today. We have severe weather to cover in the plains. I'll get to what that looks like here in just a second. We'll be on all day today, all day tomorrow, all the way up to this thing is pretty much done and over with. I want to talk to you guys too. We have just a lot of weather to just break down over the next couple of hours. So we're talking about a big pattern change going into next week. I think big time severe weather is going to return to the high plains. Not that it's been already up there for a majority of the weeks now. But I think we're going to start to bring in the corn sweat belt is what we like to call it there, where our dew points just exceed 80 degrees and we get just ridiculous derecho-like wind setups back up in the high plains. That'll probably start going into next week that we're going to be watching that. I do think big-time severe weather will be on the thing going into next week. But as I was saying here a minute ago, just looking at spaghetti model plots, majority of our ensembles, at least our European ensembles, either have this right off land here or inland. It's going to make or break if this becomes a named storm or not. Once again, I want you guys to know there's a lot of false information going around on social media about this system. I had somebody in my chat yesterday saying that this was a category hurricane, or not a chat, but in my comment section yesterday saying that this was a category 1 hurricane already. This storm has not been named. This is an Invest 93L. This is investigation is what this is. This is not a tropical depression. It's not a tropical storm, and it's not a hurricane yet. So be very, very mindful of what you guys see on social media, because there is a lot of false information revolving the system because it deals with the United States. It's always going to happen. So going inland, like I said, regardless of if this develops or not, we're going to have heavy rain. We're going to have probably some tropical tornadoes, etc. So that's what we're looking at in terms of there. We'll look at more of the intensity guidance stuff later on and what we're going to be, seeing probably closer to tomorrow with those potentially upticking. We'll just see. Biggest thing, and I want to talk about this here for just a second, is going to be the flooding threat. And this is what we call WPC. This is basically a risk outlook of flash flooding. We've kind of been talking about this a lot over the last couple of days. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit better here. This is what we call WPC. Gives us an idea of our risk zones. It goes 1 to 4. So unlike severe weather risk zones from SPC, yeah, so whatever, sorry, I was having a mind blank again for a second. Whatever you guys see on SPC, the risk zones go marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, or high. It's like the same thing here, except these risk zones go 1 to 4, and it's in terms of flooding. So marginal, light green being the lower end threat, slight risk being, medium, or not at least medium, but slight risk, and then you get up to moderate risk, which is what we have for the day 4 outlook here, where you have a 40% chance, and then you get a high risk, which is sort of kind of rare in a sense of things. So the last high risk for flash flooding we actually had was back in Kentucky and into into the lower Ohio Valley when we had that big flooding event back in March and April. So for us to get a day 4 moderate risk down here in southern Louisiana, you guys need to be watching very closely. We are expecting, I wouldn't even rule out anywhere from 10 to 20 inches of rainfall for some people. Some of our PWAT values that are coming in on our model runs are showing 3 inches, which basically indicates that we could have very high rainfall ratios per hour as this system works its way into Louisiana. It's not going to be done after one day. It's going to take a couple days to get this thing out of here. So if you are in southern Louisiana, central Louisiana, down in southern Mississippi, western Florida, or western side of the panhandle of Florida, we're going to have to watch the threat for significant flash flooding. And I wouldn't rule out somebody at the end of the day seeing 15 to 20 inches of rainfall. We'll get more of those totals as we go closer to this event happening. Like I said, we're still 72 hours out from a landfall, quote unquote landfall. Whether this storm goes north, whether it goes south, it's going to make a big difference in those rainfall totals. So we'll have more of an update on that. But a big flash flooding threat. And like I said, the WPC does not typically issue a day 4 moderate risk 4 days out. It's very rare to see that. So I do not think, or I do think that we cannot rule out a high risk for flash flooding off the table here. And even with that moderate risk in place, a high risk for localized flash flooding is definitely going to be on the table as well going into next week. So, or not next week, but going into early next week from where this comes in the weekend. So something to make note of there. I do want to talk about SPC because we got severe weather to cover today and we got watches out. So we got a lot going on with the weather right now, and this will continue through much of next week. The good news on the tropic side of things, once this system clears out and is gone after the weekend here, we are going to enter another period where we're probably not going to have any tropical activity probably until the beginning of August. Some of our ensembles and oscillations that are coming in for the month of August are signaling still a little bit of a below average trend. Hurricane season may honestly not wake up until September or October, and that's typically when peak season is anyway. So we're going to have to watch for the next 3 to 4 months for tropical development regardless, but we may enter another kind of quieter period where we may not see much of anything. We've not really seen much of anything other than 3 storms that have all been very, very unimpressive, I should guess the word is, other than Chantal bringing lots of rainfall to North Carolina and South Carolina. So here's our risk zone for today. The Storm Prediction Center does have a level 3 enhanced risk. If you are in Nebraska here and the far extreme southern South Dakota, we do have an enhanced risk for damaging winds. This is going to be in excess of 75 miles per hour. So somebody could see a 90-mile-an-hour wind gust today if they're in central Nebraska or southern South Dakota with a line of storms that'll be moving through, and we'll talk about what that looks like here in just a second. Slight risk outside of that extends from basically Michigan, UP Michigan, all the way down here to portions of Nebraska and getting into northern Kansas, back down here as well into central Minnesota. Another slight risk back over here into portions of eastern Nevada, getting into Utah, getting into southern portions and western portions of Wyoming. We've got Idaho as well, and then another slight risk. So lots of severe weather across the plains and the Rockies as typical. When we get a ridge going in one direction, or at least a semi-ridge, you're going to get troughing on the north side of that ridge. Therefore, you get severe weather. So we'll be watching that, and then a small marginal risk for wind and hail back down into Arizona. Here's our tornado risk for today. A lower end tornado risk, but not 0, 2% up here in eastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin and western UP Michigan. Another 2% tornado risk back down here into Nebraska and South Dakota. So we'll be watching out for an isolated tornado threat for the next couple of hours as these storms, as these supercells blossom, giving us the threat here for a local tornado threat. A lot of times on these outflow boundary days, we have to watch out very closely for those potential isolated cells, because those outflow boundaries can kind of help enhance the low-level spin on some of these supercells. So something to note for there. The biggest threat today is going to be the wind threat. We do have a 15% in both slight risk here for winds up to 70. The main significant wind threat is going to be back down here again in that enhanced risk, where we could see winds exceed 75 plus miles per hour with any line segments or clusters that get going. So once again, something to watch down here as well. We've got a hail threat as well for today. Let me get that pulled back up. 15 and 5% there in the yellow / the maroon there for potentially hail up to 1 to 2 inches in diameter is roughly what we're looking at as well there. Somebody's saying to check the radar in Houston. Let me check here. We don't have any severe weather going on in Houston. Yeah, there's nothing in Houston. Got a little storm up near Liberty here. No rotation on that storm, so you guys are good over there. A lot of times with these tropical systems as well, you can get spin up tornadoes. Sometimes they can be warned, sometimes not. It's very hard to indicate tropical system spin ups. Sometimes, like I said, they can be seen, sometimes they can't be. That's just part of a tropical system. So we'll be watching here as well if we get anything or notice anything. Most of these outer bands should mostly be harmless, as they are kind of on the western and northwestern side of our low. Mostly when you see a tropical system, you're going to get severe weather on the right side, which is known as the dirty side. So something we'll be watching for. Right now, we've not actually had any tornado warnings today that I can think of. Yeah, we've not had any today that I can think of. But you can actually see, guys, you can see the low here, which is really interesting. This is just now moving over Interstate 35. So the center of our low pressure is right here. And like I said, it's very loaded on the southern side here, which is what's making this, it's making the system kind of weird to forecast. Like I said, when you don't have a compact system or a compact low, the models typically have a little bit of an issue with steering as well as just in general with figuring out where it's going to go because the low is lopsided. So something we'll be watching. If we start to get convection up here on the north side, even inland here, then that'll kind of start to signal that this thing may be starting to get going. But just kind of looking at where it's going right now, kind of going on a northwest track here. Like I said, if this can get back over water, which it may in fact do, we'll have an issue in watching this potentially develop into something. It's not going to take much because the water temperatures back out here in the Gulf are pushing the upper 80s. They're pushing low 90s. So the sea surface temperatures are just adequate for tropical system development here. And then, like I said, with the shear not being existent, we could have this thing going. But if this stays inland and the low doesn't move back over water and, we don't get any development, that kind of be best case scenario. But we're still going to see, like I said, flash flooding from this event here. So kind of something to make note of. Let me go back to SPC here for just a moment. We've also got severe weather for tomorrow. We'll be covering this tomorrow as well. A huge marginal risk that extends... what's the word I'm trying to think of here? More of a bigger marginal risk that extends from the Rockies, the Central Plains, back up here into portions of the East Coast, or not the East Coast, but the Northeast, back up in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. So level 1 risk in the dark green there. 2 slight risks to watch for tomorrow. Both of these do have tornado risk, so we'll be watching a new trough moving in along the Rockies here, and then in the same trough that's moving in and bringing severe weather today for tomorrow. A slight risk that's going to be in place there from Wisconsin, from Green Bay all the way down to central Illinois. We've got 2 areas to watch for tornadoes tomorrow. That's a 2% in Green Bay that extends down to Chicago. So we do have, for any of my non-believers in here, we do have an isolated tornado risk for Green Bay, Milwaukee, Chicago, and getting down into eastern extreme Iowa and north central Illinois tomorrow. So we'll be watching this, as well as another 2% tornado risk again tomorrow from Cheyenne back down into Pueblo, Colorado. So Denver also being included in that as well. So not time to freak out or anything. Just be weather aware tomorrow. We'll be covering this for you guys. Wind threat tomorrow at 15% there in the yellow for that slight risk that extends from Green Bay down for winds up to 70. Marginal risk for winds up to 60. And then we've got a hail threat at 15 and 5% for wind, or for hail up to 2 inches in diameter. So something we'll also be watching very, very closely. Yeah, Brian, I think that the potential there as well is for a shift south. So we'll have to watch it there. I do think the European model ensembles, even though they're pretty good with this type of stuff, we've had some weird scenarios where these lows will do whatever they want and they'll shift a different direction. So a southwesterly track, I think, is still on the table 100%. We're just gonna have to watch it and see what happens. So something to make note of: Ohio, you do have storms tomorrow. Marginal risk for severe weather. Wind and hail will be your primary threats. Most of the Ohio Valley, with the exception of central and northern Illinois, will be under the threats for wind and hail with an isolated tornado risk in Illinois tomorrow. We did have, and if you guys watched my video this morning, or this later on this morning, we did have no severe weather forecast, and I mentioned that we would probably get a day 3 risk zone just because we've yet to have a day really since, I think, February or March where there's not been a risk zone. We did get a day 3 added up here, and this is going to be for the Friday outlook here. I had to think about that for a second. We will have severe weather up in the Northeast, in the eastern Ohio Valley on Friday for damaging winds and hail potentially. So something to make note of there. Do you think Ohio will get upgraded to a slight risk for tomorrow? Probably not. The kinematics and our setup will mostly be favorable for back up into Wisconsin and Illinois. Can never say never, but I just don't see that happening as of right now. We'll take a look at it tonight or tomorrow when it updates again. So something to make note of there. We do have watches out. I do want to go ahead and cover. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch out here that is going to be for sorry guys, I'm losing my mind here. We are going to be watching for the threat here, like I said, in Minnesota and Wisconsin today for severe weather. We've got a severe thunderstorm watch here that's in UP, Michigan, and back down into northwestern Wisconsin and eastern and central Minnesota till 10 p.m. Central Time. This is going to be for the threat for damaging winds and hail and a brief isolated tornado. So that watch is out now. Pause for 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. Hazel was crying for a moment. Okay, sorry. This is that severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect here till 10 p.m. Central Time. Once again, Upper Peninsula, Michigan, Central and North Central Minnesota, Northern Wisconsin, and Lake Superior here with winds up to 70 miles per hour. And then we've got the hail threat up to 2 inches in diameter as well. And then we've got multiple other mesoscale discussions possible here for watches. Once again, something we will be watching very, very closely here for you guys. Let me see if I can get some questions answered. I'm going to go back to radar here. So we're watching some flooding here with the system. Let me see. What's up, Sierra? Yeah, guys, I don't know where the idea or concept of Houston getting impacts from the storm is, but I have probably seen that there probably is some people saying that there's a hurricane coming to Houston, but there's not. Houston will probably not have little to any impacts from the system as of right now. Just don't see it happening. Unless it takes a far west track, which is very, very rare in this situation right now. That would be the only reason, but Houston should be fine. So I've seen a lot of that also going on. Let's see if we've got anything else. Is Jacksonville going to flood? Jacksonville's actually mostly on the northern side where we don't have a lot of convection, so you guys should be mostly okay. Most of the flooding is happening down here. And like I said, we're watching this low, guys. It is moving pretty quickly here, so the quicker this thing gets back off land and back into the water, the better chance it's going to have to get going. So the further south this low goes, which we see a south yank, not going to be good. If we see a north yank, then that'd be better. So there's something to make note of here. Excuse me. Thank you, Sierra, for the gifts. I appreciate it. Excuse me. Appreciate you guys for the follows as well. So, like I said, we're going to be on here for most of the day today, most of the night, just kind of talking, getting y'all ready to go here. If you guys have questions, we'll kind of run through it. I just want to get my little spiel out here for the day. I appreciate you guys. We'll be on here a long time tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we'll probably be on here for at least 10 to 12 hours tomorrow, so something to watch. Tomorrow will be an interesting day for this storm because this technically is supposed to make landfall, quote unquote, Thursday into Friday. All right. All right, hold on one more sec, guys. I gotta step away for just another second. Sorry, guys. I was talking to Ro for just a second. Okay. Can I give my own prediction on where the low will move? Personally, right now, guys, just with a history of watching these type of systems, I've only been covering weather for almost 7.5 to 8 years. So these coastal lows are very hard to pick. Yesterday we saw this thing moving south. Now it's moving north. Personally, I'm like 40-40 odds like NHC is. So technically right now, I think there's a slim chance that this could get a name. It depends. So like right now, if this continues to kind of track and meander west here, kind of get into a little bit of open water, it's got a shot of developing here. I'm in a very, very short window, but if this continues to go northwest, it's clearly not going to develop. And then there's the small, like really, really rare chance that this, yanks a little bit further down here to the south. So we'll see what happens. It's just something to watch. But until we get a little bit more data in, and just kind of watch what this low does, this should be potentially off the coast of Florida, I would say by like late tonight. So that'll be more of an answer to know in that time period. It's really, really hard to predict these coastal situations. But like I said, regardless of if this develops or not, or gets a name storm or not, we're going to have widespread flooding for a lot of people, especially going towards southern Louisiana here. So just something to make note of. Yeah, it's difficult to get a grasp on this one. I really thought that this thing was going to go just the way it was looking yesterday, and then overnight it just lost all of the way it was looking. It just lost a lot of its potential. So, and like I said, that's where we talk about that northern shift or that southern shift. That southern shift would have made this thing a lot more impressive. Not that it still can't make a south shift. If we basically, what's going to basically happen, guys, and I'll pull this back up again so you guys can see. What's basically going to happen here in a nutshell is there's two opportunities, right? So this low tracks north. It's not going to do anything. It's overland. It can't develop. Once this main area of convection here, let me actually go to a different run real quick. Let me go high res. This main area of convection that you guys see spinning and bubbling up here, don't pay attention to this stuff on the side. You guys can't even see the screen. Never mind. Hold on a minute. There we go. Sorry, guys. Thought you guys could see the screen for a second. But the main area of convection here that I've got circled where the low is on top of, a lot of the times once these storms move over land, the low will kind of collapse. You can get a new low to form. If this band of convection moves off in the next 12 to 24 hours here, and we get that low to redevelop south of that convection or on top of the convection and yank it south, then that's going to give us a really good chance for this system to become named, to become basically a tropical depression or storm. I think we'll get a depression. I think the models are pretty, favorable for a depression, but getting it to hit tropical storm status and get that quote unquote name, it won't get the name until it hits 40-mile-per-hour winds is going to be a little bit difficult just because of the way the storm is angled at. So like I said, there's a lot of people on social media right now that are saying, oh, we got a hurricane coming to Louisiana. It's absolute nonsense. It's insanity because it's not a hurricane. National Hurricane Center doesn't even have, if you go and you look at their website here, they're the ones that do all this. They don't even have a named storm on their website. So, like, if you guys see people posting that stuff, you can literally go fact check it and know like that. So, we'll kind of be watching it and going from there. So, right now, 40-40 odds. I wouldn't be shocked to see NHC, given what happens in the next couple of hours as this low spins, because like I said, you can see this thing churning. I mean, it looks impressive. It's a very, very small storm. It's not a very compact or impressive storm as of right now, but you can see the convection going. You can see the spin. You can see the low level spin there. It's more defined as it was yesterday. If this, like I said, can magically miracle whip itself to the south here, then it's got a chance. But like I said, if this goes, the further north this goes, the better shot it's got of it just, not developing. So that's the tropics for you guys. The tropics is very complex. It's confusing. A lot of people look at a model run and they're like, it's going to do something. It's not. We were watching the Icon model, 4 or 5 days ago, putting a Cat 1 hurricane in Louisiana. Now it's not doing anything because it's all dependent on what happens with development.
A new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
So yeah, it's not a hurricane. It's not a tropical storm. It's not a tropical depression. This is called an invest. It's an investigation. The National Hurricane Center is investigating it. No name right now with this system.
A new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
What's the factor that makes it go more south or north? Just the low redeveloping. If this low continues to move north and it doesn't redevelop to the south, it'll fizzle out. There won't be much to it. South yank, not good. North yank, good. Let's just put it that way. We want it to go north, guys, to have lesser impacts. So
a new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
Our watch is out. So that's going to be that severe thunderstorm watch for Kansas, North, and Nebraska. And in that enhanced risk, we'll take a look at that here in just a moment. So you guys are going to probably see me streaming a lot over the next couple of days. We're going to have this graphic put up here because I'm telling you guys, this is just where Mesomat nerds out a little bit. And for any of my other weather nerds in here, y'all will understand, I'm pretty sure. And a lot of my weather team will get this. I could sit and stare at a satellite imagery of a tropical system all day long. It's just the magic of watching a system kind of come together and being able to teach it and talk about it and learn from it. This is not something that happens every single day. We get severe weather on a daily basis. We get, winter weather when it happens, but tropical systems moving over Florida or moving over the United States, it happens. We get landfalls each year, but this stuff's really interesting to watch. You can teach from it too. So you guys know I'm a big advocate for teaching weather. So something to make note of there. Let me get SPC fixed here. All right, we do have our brand new severe thunderstorm watch. This is going to be for Kansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota. So this is going to be for a high wind impacts. We've got a low tornado threat, high wind threat, and moderate hail to 65 plus wind threat. Severe thunderstorm watch here in that blue box. This includes 2 counties in northern Kansas, most of Nebraska here, and a couple counties here in southern portions of South Dakota. So that's something we'll be watching here. The threats are going to be for damaging winds of 80 miles per hour are likely. That is destructive winds. Those are PDF severe thunderstorm warnings. And we've also got the threat here for large hail, and then there'll be a brief tornado setup in here as well. What is it looking like for Panama City Beach, Florida? Yeah, so right now in Panama, I believe you guys are over here. You're actually in a marine warning here. So you've got a lot of these outer bands of convection that are associated around the broadening of the low. And that's allowing for kind of a little bit of a flooding threat to set up here. So if you're in Panama City, you need to be watching closely here. Just a training of thunderstorms here could add those rainfall totals up pretty quickly. And we can actually take a look at those rainfall totals here just briefly. Let me pull MRMS up real quick. Yeah, California is sunny. You guys are going to stay sunny. I don't expect anything in California at all for you guys. Yeah, these are 24-hour rainfall totals, so we're just now starting to lay some rain down here in Panama City. Not anything too crazy yet over there where you guys are at. Most of our heavy rainfall has either been east of Tampa, back over here into like Daytona Beach, Deltona, and then along where that low is at. But a lot of the also heavier rainfall has been off the east coast here. So
a new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
So it's just really interesting to watch. We're in South Dakota, will the storm hit? Yeah, so let me pull that up as well. We'll talk to you guys about what we're seeing with our latest models here, being as though we have that going on. Here is the latest run. Let me actually go 19Z, because this will be a little bit easier. So here's just a simulation of kind of what we could see with our radar tonight. We are going to see those supercells. Let me go a little bit further to the north here. We're going to see sporadic supercells initiate in and around northern Nebraska. We're going to see originally here, these will be isolated tornado potential. We'll be watching this in explosion, and then eventually this will grow upscale, and we'll kind of get a cluster of storms, maybe a bow echo developing here. These typically produce damaging winds of 75 to 80 plus miles per hour, so that's really the main threat tonight. The initial tornado threat is going to be probably between now and about... really the next 2 or 3 hours, we'll probably have a tornado threat. And then that'll be that. It'll be wind and hail mostly outside of that there. And then, looking at Minnesota and Wisconsin, isolated tornado threat here with a wind and hail threat component. Most of those storms will be out of here by 10, 11 o'clock tonight. So about a 5-6 hour window, mostly for you guys up there. Is Connor going to go live tonight? We'll see. I'm not Connor, so I talk to Connor pretty often, but he does his thing, I do my thing, so... He also just got his computer back, so I'm pretty sure he's trying to get his algorithm back up there because he lost so many days of doing coverage and stuff. So, but yeah, Connor will probably be live at some point tonight. I would think so. He usually is. So, we love Connor. He's awesome. I do want to show you guys something really wild. Before things get a little bit hectic and a little bit crazy here, I want to talk about our pattern for next week, because next week is shaping up to be something quite intriguing in the severe weather world here. I want to talk about this because it's just wild, some of the modeling that we've seen for next week. So this is what we call CSU. You guys probably see me talk about it in videos. I'll show it on stream sometimes. Yeah, he is waiting on a new CPU. I saw he was live the last couple days, but I think he may be waiting to get back on, which is fine. Yeah, so here's a graph of a bunch of models put together to kind of simulate where and high, where severe weather could happen at, how high or what end events it could be. Basically right now, this is where we're at. So you got all these plots, all these models kind of showing a graph here. The black line is the average where we think that severe weather is going to uptrend at. This is where we're at with severe weather now. This is where we're going to go over the next 7 to 8, 9 days. So severe weather is going to increase pretty significantly, especially as we go towards next week. And as that happens, the main threats are more than likely going to be what we call derechos. We've got the threat for a westerly to easterly, kind of a west to zonal flow here. What that does is that sets up these big old lines of storms that produces these big windbag events. And what those typically do is they produce 100 plus mile an hour winds. We saw one back in the Dakotas literally a couple of weeks ago. It was not fun. We had 120 plus mile an hour winds. We had a couple strong tornadoes. Pretty sure a lot of y'all were here in Minnesota, back up into North Dakota and South Dakota that were watching that coverage that day. It was a very long and exhausting evening that just went absolute insanity. But this is kind of where we're at. I want you guys to also take this with a grain of salt because these update twice a day, but it gives us an idea roughly of where we could see that sporadic severe weather at. This is our severe weather chances for this week. We're going to see it mostly up here into the Dakotas, up into Minnesota, Iowa, getting up into Wisconsin. So this is valid through July 21st. So this updates each day. Like I said, as we get bigger updates, we'll talk about this. What you're getting here is you're getting some troughing that's allowing, and we'll take a look at what that looks like here in just a minute. Next week is where things get really, really interesting. And this time of the year, actually a year ago today, guys, we saw the Chicago derecho. If you guys remember last year, we had a moderate risk for portions of southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. We covered this event last year as well. We had a huge squall line producing 100 plus mile an hour winds ripped through Chicago. We had multiple confirmed tornadoes in and around Chicago. Like the city of Chicago saw tornadoes this day last year. It was a huge windbag event last year, and I think that's actually quite interesting that happened today. But yeah, so this is that time of the year going toward the end of July and in the beginning of August where we see these, what we call these, zonal flow setups over top of ridges. You get a lot of corn belt sweat from the corn belts in the plains in the upper Midwest. That adds to the dew points, helps the dew points increase. We're going to see dew points next week in the 80s, the low 80s. We've got some models, and you guys are going to probably think I'm crazy for saying this, and I'll show you here in a minute. We have some models next week. I've never seen this in my life, showing 10,000 joules per kilogram of instability. The European model consistently the last 2 days has spit out 8,000 to 10,000 joules per kilogram of instability for next week, which just is, I have no words for. I'll show you guys that here in just a second. Just wait. I promise I'll show you guys. I'm not joking. I thought it was a joke when I saw it. I thought it was a glitch. But yeah, we've got models that are signaling these values next week with a zonal flow, which if we get a line of storm set up, I can't even imagine what would happen if that type of a setup happens. I mean, we would just have, it would be an extremely, you can't even use the word volatile. I don't know what word you would use. It would just be insanity. But the reason why we're getting so much instability is because we're going to have a ridge that's going to set up. We're going to have triple-digit temperatures from much of the United States next week. We're going to have heat indexes with those dew points pushing 110, 115, 120. It's going to be a really gross week next week if you're in the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, and the Plains, because the dew points as well combined with the temperatures are going to just make things really, really gross. So yeah, we'll talk about what that looks like here in just a quick second. Okay, hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. All right, so once again, this is a supercell composite. Kind of gives us an idea of where we're going to see severe weather at going into next week. This will be July 22nd through July 28th. Remember, this will update, so we'll talk about this as it updates. It's not set in stone. I always want you guys to know weather's never set in stone. And then we look at week 3, and we may start to see ridging set up as we go into the first week of August. Typically, this is what we typically would see, is that last week of July going in the first week of August. We'll probably still see some severe weather up here, but we'll have some ridging, which will keep things really hot and really, really dry. So something to be noticed about going then. Yeah, let's talk about patterns, because I want you guys to see this, because this is really interesting. I want to go to the Euro, because why not go with the Euro? Because the Euro is great. We love the Euro. All right, sorry guys, let's text in row back real quick. Supposed to go on a float trip, maybe not. Yeah, see, or maybe not a good idea. We'll talk about it, because it's not going to be like widespread every single day. But let's talk about our first layer of our atmosphere. Anytime we're looking at severe weather, talking about our patterns here, we're going to look at our 500 millibar jet stream. Gives us an idea of what's going to be happening in our atmosphere. And right now you can see there's not a lot going on. We got a trough up here that's going to swing through and give us severe weather tomorrow. We've got some shear in place today, which is going to help organize today's severe weather threats. Not a lot of big stuff going on. We haven't really seen any like mega troughs or anything crazy going on. We're going to watch this trough swing, and I do think there's a really good shot at some severe weather, like I said, tomorrow, especially going along the southern Minnesota, getting closer to like Iowa, getting into Wisconsin. We'll see kind of some westerly to northeasterly flow, kind of can enhance some outflow boundaries once again. So I don't think tomorrow or today are going to be like big days. And then we start to see zonal flow set up, and this is what you really got to watch for this time of the year, is we do start to see kind of some ridging develop here. You can see what's called zonal flow, and these typically help enhance westerly to easterly flow. That'll give us the threat for, damaging wind events. You still can get some tornadoes, some large hail out of these, but these typically promote those MCSs, those mesoscale complexes. We see those complexes of storms. They help enhance just the wind flow inside those storms there, kind of help things ventilate. As we go into Saturday and Sunday, we'll see some more troughing come in, probably some severe weather up here in the Ohio Valley going towards the end of the weekend. And then we see this thing swinging, and this is what I really want to watch. We're going to just be watching this thing going into Sunday and Monday. Still a little far out, so it's like I said, it's not set in stone. We're talking over 144 hours out at this point. But watch this trough come in next week, and this is what we call zonal/meridional flow, whatever you want to call it. And you can see a big high pressure that's going to sit here. This is going to keep much of the United States underneath of this high, hot and gross, and it's going to feel like crap. It's going to feel like July, guys. It's going to feel like August next week. We are going to have heat indexes for much of the area here in the 100 to 115 category, those heat indexes. Those temperatures will also be pushing the upper 90s, probably looking at some hundreds. I think I even saw some 110s for actual air temperatures in and around like the Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa area. So as that ridge develops, we'll see severe weather on the northwestern side of the ridge. Typically that's what happens. You can get these setups. This isn't really like the big setup yet. We really aren't going to start to see that trend once that ridge moves out, potentially going into the 24th and beyond. This is over 9 days out. It's not set in stone. Like I said, we're going to watch it. I know we're in la land at this point, but with that ridge potentially breaks down, we're going to have another ridge that's going to set up, and this is going to set up in the central plains. And what typically happens when we get a late July high going into August in a northwesterly flowing ridge on top of that, this is where you get those Ohio Valley Midwest derecho setups. It's not going to be set in stone clearly, but this is something we have to watch for with our pattern. You typically get big windbag events. You can get tornado setups, but this would be a pretty significant trend up in terms of severe weather. So something we'll be watching very, very closely here. Like I said, the European model doing pretty well with this so far. The GFS also holding with this as well. Something to make note of. It's not, like I said, set in stone. I do want to show you guys some of these temperatures next week, because the temperatures, like I said, are also going to skyrocket. You guys can see how we're kind of looking at the 80s, the 90s here. Watch the brighter whites and the darker browns kind of pop up here as we go into next week. We're going to see that ridge set up going into, starts Monday, looks to kind of be the first day of our heat wave here. You got some triple digits getting into Oklahoma City around 98 as an air temp, not a feels like. Getting up here into Nebraska, it's in the hundreds. And then we get into later next week. This is going to be right around the Thursday, Friday time wave. We got some triple digits there. And then that big heat wave, I think, really starts to make its way in here going into next Thursday. So like July 24th and beyond, we can see most people underneath that ridge here, looking at triple digits, looking at those upper 90s here, even like 101 degrees in Nashville as an air temp, not a feels like potentially. So like I said, it's gonna get gross next week, guys. It's gonna feel humid. I'll show you the dew points here in a minute as well, but these numbers get a lot worse as we go towards the end of the weekend here as well. So just something to make note of going towards next week. I mean, we've even got July 30th, 107 degrees, 108 degrees, like Kansas City, you're pushing 108 degrees as an air temperature. That's not your feels like. The heat index will go higher than that potentially. So once again, just something to make note of. It's not set in stone. This is over 300 hours out. We'll watch it. We'll talk about it. The problem is going to be the dew points. And you guys remember back up here in the Midwest, we got what's called the corn sweat belt. Typically when harvest is going on and we've got corn growing, it can add actually moisture into the sky, and we can get what's called corn sweat. And that allows your dew points to increase about around 1, 2, 3 degrees. But with the flow that we're going to have set up and that ridge coming in, it's going to pump that dew points. The dew points are going to climb. That moisture is going to go up. And we're going to see these dew points next week. It go a little bit crazy. So going into next week, we'll see those dew points probably pushing upper 70s, mid 70s. You can see that push of moisture going into Sunday, going into Monday. And then watch this, guys, going into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, we start to see those colors. I mean, this is 83 degree dew point that you're talking, I just don't have words for this. I mean, it's not unnormal to see this, but the dew points that are going to be in place, we had a big heat wave that started in the first month of June, or not the first month of June, but the first week of June, where we had triple digit heat indexes. these dew points are going to be about 10 degrees higher than what that first heat wave was. So your feels like temperature, the higher your dew points are, the higher your relative is going to be, the higher your, your heat indexes are going to be. This would just be, you can't breathe in this crap. I don't know how people function in this. So yeah, it's going to feel like soup outside. Like you open a can of chicken noodle soup, you put it in the microwave for 4 or 5 minutes, however long you put it for. Okay, not 4 or 5 minutes, but anyways, it's boiling at that point. This is what it's going to feel like outside going into the end of next week and going into July. And that's typically what we see toward the end of the month. But this will favor severe weather as well. Those higher dew points help indicate that we're going to have a lot of moisture. We're going to have a lot of instability to work with. You're going to see, we'll talk about those instability values here in just a second. But it's just going to suck next week, guys. So we'll have severe weather coverage. We might, we won't be able to go outside. It's just not going to happen. So, something to be watched for as well. And you guys can also see, I just saw somebody in the chat point about this as well. Monsoon season will be ongoing down here in Arizona. We can see those dew points in the 50s. So we'll have those monsoon storms that'll be ongoing down there. Maybe even some dust storms, hopefully not dust storms, but something to watch down there as well. I'm glad somebody pointed that out because that's something we'll be watching very, very well. But yeah, this is, yeah, I was gonna say Maya there in the chat there from Florida. If you guys are in Florida, you experience this a lot. So, or on a daily basis, pretty much yearly long. So this is something you'll have to watch for. But, I mean, it's just, it's the colors. I mean, this is a 3 to 4 day period. We're talking next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, it just continues really through the end of the month after we get into next week, and it's not even gone at that point. So we're talking about a 7 to 8 day period, if not longer than that, potentially looking at just crazy uncomfortable feels like temperatures out there. This is an idea of what we could see those feel like temperatures at. So these are going to be how it feels clearly outside. You can see it's gross already. We've got triple digits going toward the end of this week. I mean, by Thursday, we've got feels like temperatures. Louisiana, I mean, you're pushing 106. Some areas down here. We've got portions of Arkansas, we've got, Mississippi pushing 108 feels like, so it's going to feel gross. It's going to not feel great. Kaden, thank you for the sub. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. That means a lot. Seriously, I appreciate that. But yeah, we'll be watching these feels like temperatures, and especially as we go towards, next week here, you'll see these numbers climb. Look at these numbers, guys. 112, 100, I mean, look at these numbers. I mean, this is next Wednesday, the 23rd, as we've got those 80-degree dew points. You can see those correlations here with the dew point and your feels like temperature. I mean, 112, 110, 115. I mean, that's disgusting. You walk outside and, like, you're dripping sweat in, like, minutes. It's gross. It's not fun. Gross. Yuck. I just have no words for this. It's just not fun. I mean, what do you do? I feel bad for the construction workers and for people that do have to be outside in this. It's just... You're going to be a sauna. It's gross. So Iowa, all of you guys be watching out. Hopefully somebody can get a daytime thunderstorm or something in the afternoon, because even with those thunderstorms afterwards, it's going to just climb right back up after. So this is disgusting. Gross. And then we get into, the Wednesday, Thursday time frame, and we've just got these numbers just continue to go east. They climb up. I mean, we were going to have a couple days of this next week. And then at that point, we'll see what happens as we go toward the month of August. So, guys, is it crazy that we're almost looking at the month of August already? Like, we're going to be talking snowfall in like 2 months, guys. Like snowfall, 2 to 3 months. And I'm not joking when I say that. We'll be talking about snowfall. So kind of wild how that all works out there. Let's talk about the instability values, because y'all want to see these numbers. Just wait what the instability is going to do. So if we do get any storms up here next week, which we probably will, wait for it. There's the big one right there. That is next Wednesday. 9,000 joules per kilogram of instability. That is absolutely disgusting. 8,000. I mean, these numbers, you look at the legend down here on the bottom of the map. You guys can't see it or may not see it here. That's the legend on the bottom of the map. It goes up to 9,000. We're past that. 9,100. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can go just a little bit local, because I want to pull another 10 because I had one earlier. See if I can find one here. Oh, that's mixed layer cape. It's not going to work. Hold on. Just wait a minute. I'm gonna get you guys going here. I got y'all. 9,000. There we go. Oh, we're getting somewhere here. Yeah, we got about 9,300 joules per kilogram. 9,090. I mean, like I said, this is just gross. This is insane. It's the whole state of Iowa, pretty much at this point. So let's all pray and hope that we get no severe weather in this area next week, which probably will not happen. We'll probably get severe weather. It's more than likely going to happen than not. You get warm, moist air. You got shear coming in. You got just horrific numbers like this. There might be even a capping. Actually, there may not be a capping, just because the dew points are maxed out with the temperatures almost. So We got a long week next week is what I'm saying. We got a long week of weather next week. We got a long week of weather this week. We're watching the tropics this week. We're watching this next week. God knows what the first week of August is going to bring, but this is just going to be a lot of weather talk. So
A new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
Be watching out for here. And like I said, these, you know, this will continue through the end of the month as long as you've got high dew points. You've got you're gonna have instability. It's pretty set in stone here. I mean, it's just a good amount, a couple days, and then it just sits. I mean, this is a good 8 to 9 days worth. So we'll see what happens here with that. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to next week. Like I said, not set in stone yet. I'll kind of wait to see. I think the GFS is also pretty trendy with it too. Yeah, GFS is right on top of it. A little bit less aggressive with the numbers, but geez Louise, this is the Ohio Valley next week, next Thursday. I mean, we're talking 4,000 to 5,000, 6,000 joules per kilogram of instability. Michigan, you're talking, you know, some weird, wild numbers of 3K plus. So, yeah, if any severe weather sets up next week, we're going to have some big boomers out there. That's definitely for sure. So.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
All right, we've got our first tornado warning that we need to get to. This is going to be in Nebraska. Let's go ahead and pop over to that here. Interesting. My best that it's either this storm or this storm. It's one of these storms. What's up, Jacqueline? Good to see you. I haven't seen you forever. Guys, if you don't follow Jacqueline as well, she is a lovely meteorologist over in the, I'm going to lose my mind here again. West Virginia, right? Virginia or West Virginia? I lose my mind every time with it. But I hope you were doing well. It's good to see you here as well. Richmond, Virginia. That is it. Correct. If you guys want a TV station meteorologist and you live in Richmond, go watch her. She's amazing. Like, legitimately is on TV doing the weather. I love it. See, I told you guys, we have meteorologists that come in the streams that are highly respected, and I love it. I love that. That's freaking awesome for you. Heck yeah. I'm so excited. I love that. All right, guys, we got a tornado warning here. This is going to be in Nebraska. This is going to be for Cherry County. If you were in Cherry County, Nebraska, please be seeking shelter, guys. First tornado warning of the day here. And this is off an outflow boundary. Once again, so as I mentioned, if any outflow boundaries can get going here, those green lines you see, this is wind outflows, or outflow boundaries that are set in place from either the morning of storms, the night before, or just storms in general. Sometimes these storms can use their own outflow boundaries, to help enhance themselves to, you know, potentially rotate here. So something to make note of here. So if you were in the middle of nowhere here, once again, Cherry County will be watching out here, guys. Be in your safe place as always. Oh yeah, guys, I am a huge advocate for supporting storm chasers and Mets. Like, I've got so many Mets that come in streams and watch. You guys will see a lot of them come in. Jacqueline is one of them as well. I've been friends with her for almost a year now. She's a TV meteorologist in Richmond, Virginia. She's amazing as well. Like I said, you guys will see a lot of them come in here, and I'm not even degreed, so I've just been doing weather coverage for 8 years. That's literally it. So yeah, I will support any weather creator or anybody else out there. I will never tear anybody down. You guys know that. That's how it's always been. So never once. You don't do me wrong, you're fine. That's just how it is. So, I appreciate y'alls. I do. Like I said, there is a lot of false information in the weather world that comes from people that don't do weather content, and that's something that's happening a lot right now. So that's why I always tell you guys, if you want real weather information, you want real weather coverage, this is my full-time job. I just don't get paid for it. And I don't really care about that. So, like I said, you know, you follow the real Mets, follow the people like me that do what we do. You're going to get reliable information every single time. That's what matters at the end of the day. So it's just insanity what's going on in the weather world right now. Everybody is blaming something on something. Nobody believes real weather information. Nobody believes the truth anymore. It's insanity. So, but yeah. So appreciate all of the Mets, the Storm Chasers, and the other streamers out there as always. Hard work as always. So, anyways, once again, if you guys are north here of Mullen and Seneca, Nebraska, this is going to be, once again, for Cherry County. This is a radar-indicated tornado warning. We are also watching the cell here to the southwest of that tornado warning. Also, maybe get going here as well. Let me switch back over to... There we go. You guys can see it a little bit better. So, thank you guys also for all the follows. I do appreciate it. We are closing in, guys, on 100K followers. So, I do appreciate it very much. All right. Northern Illinois tomorrow, you guys will be in a low-end tornado threat, wind threat, and hail threat tomorrow. So, we'll talk more again about Northern Illinois here in just a little bit. So, This is definitely trying to do some interesting things. This is a pretty classic looking supercell here too. So you've got your outflow boundary that this thing is kind of wrapped around. If you've got a tornado, it's going to be right on the outflow boundary there. I mean, like spot on it. So. Once again, if you guys are watching on YouTube as well, I do appreciate you guys. Brian, Dalton, all of you guys over there. Thank you as well for the support. It means a lot. If you guys, the biggest thing that I am advocating is if you guys are watching me on TikTok, please go sub to me on YouTube. We are trying to grow my platform very quickly over there because if something ever happens to TikTok, we will be live on YouTube. We go live on YouTube and on TikTok at the same time. I am just promoting that as much as we can. And now this
New
tornado's on the
information.
ground.
This tornado warning has been upgraded.
So we now have a confirmed tornado on the ground here. This is going to be, once again, for Cherry County along Highway 97, just north of Mullen. Confirmed in progress. It doesn't look like there's any damage with this, but there is definitely there's definitely a tornado here. So once again, observed tornado on the ground, doing damage here, guys. Cherry County, Nebraska. This did not take long to get going either today. The watch came out, the warning came out, and now we have a confirmed tornado. Good job on that one too, Brian. You did call that. I did see that. Good job on that. Yeah, these outflow boundary storms are interesting to watch. More times than not, when we get these mesoscale days and we get these type of setups like this, they do produce tornadoes more times than not. Let me see if I can find, this is going to be, let me see if I can get a potential camera shot on this here. See if we can find something on this. Once again, Cherry County, guys, please be seeking shelter. Confirmed tornado in progress right now. God, some of these states need better traffic cameras that actually move and you can move manually because it gets so annoying sometimes when you can't figure out what's going on. All right, let's go down here. Where is this at? You guys might hear the kids in the background too, so just bear with me on that. I might have... Let's see here. Yeah, nope. Nothing on this one. Darny darn. You never can get lucky. We never can actually see these things as they're happening. One of these days, guys, whether it's a year or 2 years from now, we're going to have storm chasers on stream where we can actually see what's going on. One of these days. It'll happen. I've got to find some storm chasers that will be able to be full-time at some point in the future. But one of these days we'll have it. It'll happen. Because I'd love to give you guys a visual on these as they're happening. So once again, very small rotation, but this is a confirmed tornado. I'm guessing that this is confirmed visually. Yeah, weather spotters confirm this. So we'll go back to this thing here, and this is a pretty impressive storm. The southern one might also be getting ready to go here too. Kind of got a stack of just severe of these supercells here going off these outflow boundaries. So. Once again, Cherry County got 23 minutes left on this warning here. Just continue to try and find something on this here. So, well, yeah, this, once again, if you guys are joining in stream, this is a confirmed tornado in progress for Cherry County. So we've got a tornado on the ground doing damage here in Nebraska. It doesn't look like there's too much rotation on this. This southern one's going to go tornado warn next. Mark my words, guys. If you were just east of Hyannis, or Hyannis here in Nebraska, headed towards Mullen and Thedford. Thedford's where the radar site is, so this is starting to take on inflow. So we are watching also for the western one here to potentially become tornadic next. So that southern one's expanding a little bit more too. Looks like we're going to get a supercell split too, potentially. If this one were to split here, you can kind of start to see a little bit of initiation on the eastern side of this one cell. So if you guys have questions, regardless, outside of the warnings right now, I'll have the weather team answering those questions for you guys. I'll answer more questions once we get rid of warnings. The warnings will come first. So once again, this is a tornado warning, a confirmed tornado in progress here in Cherry County, Nebraska. This is just to the north of Mullen and northwest of Thedford. Once again, observed tornado. And not seeing any correlation on these, so they're probably out in the open. Appreciate you guys for all the follows. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say it probably is a pretty small tornado. I've just not seen. There's not been like a big strong velocity couplet with it or anything, so that might be also why. Yeah, Brian, honestly, too, that could be the secondary low developing. So if there's a secondary, I'll have to take a look at it here in a minute when the warnings expire. But if there is a secondary spin, potentially, you've also got your low-level center on Invest 93L is kind of split between your mid-level low. So there's a little bit of two different areas of vorticity kind of higher up that you may be seeing also, but it could also be developing a secondary low, potentially. So we're not going to fully know that 100% until NHC or somebody else, officially calls it. But yeah, that's two definitely possible scenarios, 100%. Yeah, if you guys are asking questions on areas in chat, make sure you ask your city and state as well. That way the weather team can answer. So. Take a look at these echo tops and see what we're at. Jesus, these are very high storms. 56,000 feet aloft on the one in Hyannis, and then we've got the one here in North of Mullen at 53,000 feet. So very, very healthy storms. And it does look like we are going to get a cell split here. You can see a secondary storm kind of merged in here that's going to spin off of this one here. And then another one. So outflow boundaries are doing the thing. They are doing the thing right now. We've also got some severe thunderstorm warnings up here as well into South Dakota, Winner, Chamberlain. These are for damaging winds, but the higher tornado threat will be in and around this enhanced Triscat where these storms initiate at. And another one down here developing in Arthur. So we'll be watching very, very closely. Yeah, it looks like on our low, or it looks like on our invest now, that the low has completely been closed up with convection. So that's interesting to note as well. I'm curious to see what NHC does at 7 p.m. I wonder if they go high risk for development or if they go up to 50 or 60. Be something to note too. It's already halfway through the state of Florida, so we'll see this thing probably push off by early tomorrow morning. Okay. Yeah, I agree too. I do think that there's a good chance that this system still could develop. I always like to be hesitant on making calls too, especially when there's so much questionnaire on what's going to happen. But this thing it's impressive. It's very, very impressive. So we could well be on our way to seeing Tropical Storm Dexter form in the next 48 hours, 100%. Be dependent on if the new low develops. If that low develops and it pulls it south, then we're going to have a big problem. And it's not going to be a good problem to have. So once again, guys, we have a confirmed tornado warning in progress here. These storms are, they're moving. They're moving. For my California people in the stream, you guys are good to go. High pressure dominating on the West Coast. Should be nothing but hot, dry, and sunny. Yeah, it is. I'm going to be very interested to watch tomorrow. We'll be on stream tomorrow very, very early in the morning watching Hurricane Recon come in. So, guys, just a heads up to everybody. We're going to be on stream quite some time tonight, covering severe weather and talking about tropics. Tomorrow, we're going to start stream I'll probably have my video out tomorrow by no later than 9. I want to be on stream between 10 and 11 tomorrow. That way we can get on and watch Recon data come in because the Hurricane Hunters will be out there dropping raw soundings in there. It'll be pretty cool to watch that stuff happen, get some real-time data coming in from this tropical system and seeing what's actually going to happen with it. Because we'll be within a 48-hour window of landfall tomorrow, so it'll be interesting. Poor Hazel. Hazel did something. Yeah, you guys might hear her crying. Rochelle's got family over right now, so she probably hit herself on something. No. Oklahoma City is going to be fine. This is going to be in Louisiana. Yeah, Hazel's been kind of going through this fit over the last couple of days. It's been a little bit of a struggle. You guys know those, like, if you guys don't know, we have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old. Hazel's the 2-year-old, and she's going through that phase where, like, we started giving her those puffs, those baby puffs, so, like, she can, they're soft in your mouth, like, they melt in your mouth, and she's been going through, like, 3 or 4 bottles a day, and I kid you not, if I walk out of her room and put a movie on for her and don't give her puffs, it is, like, an absolute breakdown. Like, she will yelp at the top of her lungs. I'm trying to teach her that it's not okay to do that, and Rochelle is, too. She's not working very well right now, so you guys might hear her here and there in the streams because she's not happy, so. She's always a hungry baby, though. She's always eating. I really like this storm to the west off of the outflow boundary here, so we'll keep watching this, but this has a whole rain here to kind of do whatever it wants. So this storm is tracking east-northeast slowly. Like I said, we're watching for some development here. Both of these storms is the one tornado that's still observed, supposedly, here. Starting to see a little bit more inflow kind of feed into this here, so we'll see if this changes. Yeah, the yogurt melts are good, too. The problem is if I buy yogurt melts for her, I eat them all before I get home with them. That's the problem. I appreciate that, Kate, and I appreciate your support. You're freaking awesome. Yeah, that's the problem. They don't get home because I eat them all on the way home. I'm telling you, baby food sometimes is good, especially them yogurt melts and them puffs. That's the problem. I'll go to the grocery store and spend like $15 on melts, and then like there's just a bag of trash in the floor afterwards, and it's only a 5 to 10 minute drive to the grocery store. One for baby, 2 for Matt. For real though. Guys, y'all would make fun of me on stream if I was eating baby food in front of y'all. That'd be weird. That would be weird. Y'all would be like, what? All right. So southern storm may probably get tornado warned soon. Still seeing some low-level response here with this, getting into potentially a tornado warning maybe coming here soon. At least not a torpos warning on that storm. Excuse me. I am in Western Kentucky. We live in Western Kentucky. Me and Ro live together. So if you guys don't know, I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina. A little bit of a backstory. I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina. Been in school trying to get my degree. It's just taken forever to do because that's school for you and it's expensive. I think a lot of you guys can vouch for that. But basically, in a nutshell, I met my lovely significant other, Rochelle. You guys see Spider in the chat a lot. That is her. Met her on TikTok during one of my weather streams 3 years ago, almost to this day, actually. And we dated for a year, moved up here to Kentucky with her, and started doing weather full time last year. And I'm a stepdad, or will be a stepdad officially, to 2 lovely kids in the future. I call them my kids already just because I lived here with them for 2 years. Why not? But yeah, so being a parent for the first time ever, with no experience, and then taking care of 2 kids that clearly are not like mine biologically. I love both the kids myself. They're both amazing. Both Hazel and Richard are beautiful, beautiful kids. They're both disabled kids, but they are both beautiful kids, and I love them. So it's a little bit of a struggle sometimes, but Rochelle needed help. I fell in love, and boom. Y'all can probably guess what happens. So I moved up here into Kentucky, where I can see tornadoes happening from my backyard and not from a TV screen. Because my hometown that I lived in never saw a tornado in my lifetime living down there for 20 years. Not one time. And then I just think it's wild that I move up here, and then the year after I move up here, my hometown gets absolutely obliterated and wiped off the map from Hurricane Helene. I just still can't fathom that. And it's been a year almost to this day that it's happened, and I'm just like still shocked at it. It's crazy. I watched everybody in my family go through one of the worst natural disasters, and somehow I wasn't a part of it. It just blows my mind. It really does. And I tell myself all the time that if I were to probably experience this type of a disaster, I probably would have quit going to meteorology school, and I probably would have quit doing what I did weather-wise, because I'd be so traumatized from that. So, but yeah, I watched my whole family go through Helene. Asheville, North Carolina, you guys know that it was all over the news. They saw 42 inches of rainfall. Asheville was one of the worst areas hit from Helene. Well inland, clearly, than where it made landfall at in Florida. And over 256 fatalities were in my county, let alone. I watched the grocery store that I worked at for 4 years, gone, doesn't exist anymore. The hotel that I worked at for 2 years pretty much doesn't really exist anymore. The roads, the houses that I lived on, luckily the house that me and my brother shared, he still lives there. Doesn't or it's still there. There's nothing that happened to it. But just down the street where we lived, we watched the gas station, many homes gone. I mean, that's how close it was to like life or death. So just a lot. And then not being able to talk to my family for 7 to 10 days without communication was really concerning, because you didn't know, as you see the death total goes up, you didn't know if that was them in there or not. So that's the whole thing with that. And that's really what I think. I've always been into weather clearly before. I've not been through anything like that before, watching on the outside, but really, in all honesty, that's really what really got me going, especially with this last year here, is just watching that happen last year and in general. So, and I've watched a lot of these natural disasters happen from the outside and never been physically in one. Hopefully we'll never be in one. But yeah, it's been wild weather. Why is Texas green if nothing is happening? Texas is green for flooding today, and that is for general thunderstorm risk, because you guys have had so much rain. So they'll issue that for flooding. So we're covering this tornado warning, guys, right now. I'll zoom out the map once the warning expires. We got about 9 minutes. The good news is this is back to radar indicated, so this tornado is no longer on the ground. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, we are about to watch two beans split. So we're going to have this northern storm split and go north, and we're going to watch the southern one probably go south. And the southern one is probably going to win the battle here, and it's probably going to go tornadic again. We're also watching the storm back here to the west of that's now up to 2-inch diameter hail. But I'm really watching this nasty little booger here in Mullen, because if this splits, you're going to have that outflow boundary divergence, and it's gonna do something crazy probably. So we're gonna watch it. Yeah, if you're 13 years old and you predicted a tornado warning, I guess that's pretty good. I try to call, when I see a storm rotating or it looks like it's going to do something, just because you just know, you do it for a while and you know, I'm pretty good at calling warnings 45 minutes to an hour before they happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way, but that's the goal, at least, to get people to their safe places before a warning's issued. Gives them more time. Heck yeah. Yeah, if you can learn how to do it, that's a good thing. It's always a good advocate. Learning how to read radar. And you can ask anybody on my weather team in chat, guys. All 60 of them or all 50 of them. However many we have on this team at this point. There's a lot. Most of them, or if not all of them, should know how to read radar at this point and give an idea on when, and almost an idea of where rotation's at on a storm. So it takes time to learn radar, but once you get it nailed down, you're pretty good. So what sucks is tropical systems. So when we have like tropical systems like we're watching now, they'll have an isolated tornado threat. A lot of times you'll get confirmed tornadoes in tropical systems that don't even get warned, because they're so small of rotations and they spin up so quickly. So something we watch. This looks to be fizzling out here, which is good. Jesus, that hook looks impressive. It's a very impressive looking little bean. Yeah, I was gonna say that too. You can start to see the inflow and outflow kind of re getting itself together here. Kind of a recycle, I guess is what you'll call it. Yeah, guys, let me go get help Rochelle real quick, get the kids back in their rooms because she doesn't feel good right now. So I'll be right back. If you guys will tap the screen, share the live out, sub to me on YouTube if you guys haven't, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. One of our kiddos is officially now sick, and Rochelle is sick, so this is going to be fun. Love it. Okie dokie. Okay. All right, let's get back into this here. Multiple severe thunderstorm warnings for hail and wind. That tornado warning did expire. We'll keep an update on these storms here. Kind of got 2 more storms splitting here again. Let me check watches to see if we've got anything else here. Are you guys talking about the tropical storm supposed to be Brenton, Florida? Yeah, so Florida, you're going to be actually fine after tomorrow. It'll be out of Florida by tomorrow, mostly. The panhandle of Florida up towards, like, Mississippi will still have some issues, but most of Florida will be pretty much out of it by tomorrow, so I'm not too worried about you guys down there in Florida. Should mostly be okay. We are getting a lot of convection, though, bubbling up with this thing, which is really, really interesting. Let me look for an update here real quickly. Hold on a second. Let me read this real quick. We may have a tropical depression already, which is really interesting. Yeah, I think we have a depression. It's just not beneficial yet. The way that this is looking right now, over the last 3 hours, we may have a depression. Pressure is down to 112, so right there at it. Let me look, Laney. And there goes the icon, yeah, so interesting. Let's see what NHC does in 2 hours. What's up, Ken? Good to see you in here. Good to see you. Yeah, so my thoughts currently is we get an upgrade to a high on the next update, given what I'm seeing right now. Hold on, I'll show you guys here in just a second. I'm just reading some updates here, guys. Interesting. Yeah, I want to see what NHC does next. Kind of go from there. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna watch it. We may have a depression already. We'll see. We'll see what happens on the next update here. I'll show you guys satellite imagery here real briefly. Very, very impressive looking storm right now. I mean, it's doing the thing. I mean, we've had a blow up of convection all around the center. The low is officially closed almost, I think. We still look right now. Low is right in here. So if we continue to watch this thing jog west, you're putting water. You're giving this a chance. Like we are giving this thing a chance here to do something potentially, which is interesting. I'm not seeing much more of a northwest jog. I'm seeing a west jog. If this can pull a little bit further to the southwest as well, it's going to allow for some issues. Yeah, there was a confirmed tornado a few minutes ago. We were talking about that a minute ago here. Stupid satellite imagery is going to go away though here soon. Do you have any updated models here? Yeah, so pressure is 113. There's our blob. This is happening right now, guys. Like this is live data coming in. They need to update this. A lot of our models do still take this a little far off land. I wonder if this is going to jog south, though, too. It's just so weird. We'll see what the 12Z or the 18Z tracks do as well with this. It's weird. It's really weird. Yeah, Orlando's fine. You guys are good. Let me go back to that. Air Recon's not until tomorrow. Do we have any updated hurricane models then? That's my biggest thing is 18. That's 12Z. Yeah, I'll be interested to see when the 18Zs run, which should be here in the next hour. We'll see if they do anything with this. It's weird. I don't know. Yeah, these close to home storms are typically really interesting. Like I said, NHC right now still has a 40% chance of development. I wonder if they go 50-60 next on the 7 o'clock, which we'll get that update in 2 hours. About an hour and a half, 2 hours, roughly. So, we will see what happens. Get to these severe thunderstorm warnings. All right, so all these severe thunderstorm warnings are for wind and hail. We do have a torpos up here in Chamberlain, South Dakota currently for a isolated chance at a tornado here. Okay. Yeah, Chamberlain, you guys are in a torpos severe thunderstorm warning for a isolated tornado potential with this storm. Mostly looking at wind and hail with this, though. Take a look at our latest run. Yeah, I've got mostly damaging winds with this tonight. Sorry, guys, I'm just reading another update here. Okay. I'm going to look at another model run here, too, for just a second. Yeah, no, sirens are also can be sounded for severe thunderstorm warnings as well. Yeah, so Sam, if you're in Chamberlain there, it's a severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, I do still think we'll get. I do still think a named storm is definitely possible here. If this gets depression status before, I'd say before Thursday morning, could see a tropical storm. Tropical storm name. A lot of the ensembles of the European ensembles still give this time a little bit of time between like Panama City and New Orleans over water, so it doesn't take much with the water temperatures and no shear to get this thing going. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with it here. I do still think the NHC could increase odds. We'll see, given what it looks like right now. No, it's not gonna have time to be a hurricane. It would have to be way further south. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. You never can rule out anything. So more than likely we'll get just a low end, like I said, high end scenario, probably low end tropical storm, maybe tropical depression. We'll see. But right now, this thing's gonna have to do some crazy things. It's not, like I said, impossible to happen. You can get some storms that, or some systems like this to go through the Gulf, and they'll do things. They'll defy model runs and stuff like that. We've had situations like that happen in the past. So far, the European and the GFS originally, when this system started getting going, were not even in sync with what was happening yesterday until it caught up. So the models had to catch up yesterday. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm just looking at some of the ensembles behind the screen here. All right. All right, let me get back into radar coverage here. We'll talk about our storms. We got 2-inch hail down here into just southeast of the Hyannis area here in Nebraska for that storm. 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds in Seneca. And then we've got that line of cluster of storms that's developing with that Torpos up in Chamberlain still that we're watching. So if you guys are in Nebraska, mostly damaging winds tonight will be the main threat with an isolated tornado threat, but damaging winds up to above 75 miles per hour are possible here in this area as we get this line of storms kind of cranking. We'll see more storms initiate along this boundary here in the next couple of hours as well. That's what the model's really suggesting. Houston, you guys will be fine. I'm not expecting anything in Houston at all. No. Yeah, I saw that blow up by convection too, Ryan. I'm interested on that too. I wonder if that's just thunderstorm convection though from the outer bands. Thank you guys for the gifts, by the way. I do appreciate it as well. There we go.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
That is going to be in South Dakota. That should be the storm, I believe, here in Chamberlain. We'll see. Should be the storm here. Oh, so it's just the one to the south of it there. So this is going to be for Ola, Eagle, and Platte Colony here. Tornado warning radar indicated here. You can see the radar is going to be a little wonky because it's in a weird spot. But we do have rotation here near Ola. This will be moving southeast. So we're seeing these storms move southeast now, is what we've been mostly seeing today. But Platte Colony, Eagle, Ola, get to your safe place. We've got Charles Mix County here in South Dakota, Gregory County, and Brule County. And those in that warning here. Yeah, Panama City, you're getting those outer bands from that tropical low, so flooding will be the biggest impacts for you guys. Can't rule out an isolated tornado. Cozy gaming day it is. I don't blame you. Yeah, it would definitely be one of those days there if you're in Florida today for sure. Definitely a day for you guys. All right. We can get up here into South Dakota. All right. There we go. Trying to find a camera. Northwest Iowa, you have a marginal risk for severe weather today. All right, that's not working. Thank you guys for the follows. I appreciate it. Thank you for the follows. We're up to 68 new followers today. You guys are awesome. So once again, tornado warning here, guys. We have about 33 minutes on this warning. Most of these other warnings outside of this here are for 60-mile-per-hour winds. We got some hail out there, too. Minnesota has a marginal to slight risk for severe weather. It's basically northwest of Minneapolis. Yeah, once again, tornado warning is in the Platte Colony area here. So we'll go back to this. We've got a little bit of rotation on the storm. Not a lot, but Ola Eagle and Platte Colony here in southern South Dakota. If you guys are in this warning, please be seeking shelter. Yeah, so this should be fizzling out here pretty soon too. There's not a lot. There's not a lot with this storm. I'm actually kind of shocked they warned it to start with. Yeah, this is just to the south of Chamberlain. Hold on, guys. Let me go take care of Hazel again. Yeah, sorry guys, it's just one of those days where one of the kiddos is sick, Ro don't feel good, and then we've got Hazel just being Hazel, so. I appreciate y'all for bearing with me here. Alright, it does look that this tornado warning should be expiring here soon. There is really not much left rotation on this storm. We'll keep you guys on it here. So if you guys are coming in stream, tornado warning here, Platte County, or Platte Colony, Ola and Eagle here in South Dakota. Outside of that, severe thunderstorm warnings for damaging winds up to 60, some hail out there. You got a golf ball size hail warning back over here into portions of, ooh, hold on a minute. We might have a new tornado warning down on this storm here in a minute. I'm going to look at this storm for just a second because this is going to be headed towards a little bit higher some populations. I don't know what this is. That might be our first 80-mile-an-hour wind gust on the way out of the supercell here. So that would be headed towards Thedford, where the radar site might get obliterated. Or not obliterated is the word I'll use, but y'all know what I mean when I say that. Well, that's not good. Yeah, that's definitely a windbag storm for sure. Let's see if I can get a camera on that storm. That's the one that's over in Thetford. God, none of the cameras ever work on these. Well, there's a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust. Or the 70-mile-an-hour severe thunderstorm warning. Yep, so that new severe thunderstorm warning is for Seneca, Thedford, and Halsey. This is for 70-mile-per-hour winds, so we are seeing that wind threat increase significantly here. Dev and Lindy, thank you guys for the rose and the heart. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for the follows as well. Yeah, we got a little bit of some interesting spice here. We're definitely looking at very strong winds, at least 70 mile per hour here just north of the radar site. So that's one thing to note. I'm not seeing any rotation, but it's also a little bit hard to see that because of how close it is to the radar. Another 70. So 70 mile per hour winds on this. We'll just take a little measurement. Excuse me. Getting pretty close to 80, so we are expecting 80 mile per hour winds on this eventually at some point here as this storm goes east. You can see an outflow boundary supercell that just emerged out of Thedford. Still watching this storm down here to the west of that. Still got some rotation on that tornado warning in Platte Colony. Ro, I hear me in the living room. Yeah, this whole line is now warned for Torpos. Yeah, so you got a little line segment moving through here, a little Boeing line segment. Minneapolis is marginal risk. You guys mostly will be okay today. Just be weather aware for general thunderstorms. Up to wind could be up to 60. Hail could be up to about an inch maybe. Oh, I do. Maddie, if you're in stream here, let me get you added. I thought I had you fixed already. That's my bad. Laney, are you still in stream? I think Laney's in here, is she? The latest European is now the percentages are now actually issuing hurricane percentages. So we now have the European is now catching on to the idea of last minute organization on Thursday. We've got a 20% chance of a hurricane on the European ensembles now. That was not there before. I mean, the water temperatures are 2 to 4 degrees above average right now off the East Coast or off the side of Louisiana. So, I mean, it really, like I said, it's anybody's game at this point. Anything can happen. I mean, we're either not going to get something to develop or we're going to get something to develop. It's a 50-50 shot, I think, at this point. But we've now got hurricane odds, so that's interesting. 20% chance seems low, but in reality, it's not. I'm going to look at these anomalies real quick. Excuse me. Yeah, this is really interesting. So, I mean, this low is going to have, even with the time that it may, you know, have on the waters. I mean, we've got water temps pushing like the extreme category up here off the coast of Louisiana. It's weird. Not weird that it's there, but it's just weird that this isn't going to develop at all, potentially, is what the models are suggesting. Some of them are. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys this. So take a look at this. This is sea surface temperatures right now. Don't really pay attention to the numbers, but this is our high. This is where the warmest water temperatures are, and this is where this low is going to meander into. And even though it's close to land, I just got a weird feeling on this. Like, even from the meteorology side of it, I've just got a really weird feeling on this. Like, we're going to get, I really think we're going to get a named storm, but I just don't want to say it yet because it's so, like, the confidence. It's just really interesting. And then you look at the actual water temps and where are they the warmest at? Look at this. Where are they the warmest at? Where this low is going to track. I mean, they're warmest right along the Louisiana coastline. I mean, this storm is going to work into, if this low were to get off the coast, which I think it will. I personally think it will. It taps into these water temperatures, even though it's going to be hugging land. As long as that low sits over the water, it ain't going to matter if there's land interaction or not. You can already see the water's turning back over to below average where the invest was at originally. It's already turned up a lot of water. So we'll probably see the Gulf go back down to average or below average once this moves through. I mean, but you look at it. Hold on a second. I'll show you guys. You look at the anomalies here. I mean, it's just like, what? I mean, look at it. It's not this here. It's this. I mean, it's just exploding with convection. I mean, your low is now your low is in the convection, so it seems to be the low has got convection wrapping around it now, and we're kind of starting to see a little bit of initiation convection up here. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a rainmaker regardless. We're just trying to figure out if this thing's gonna develop or not. That's the biggest thing. It's just watching satellite trends. I mean, the water temps. Even if this were to just hug the coastline here, I mean, you're talking the sea surface temperature anomalies are 4 degrees above average. So even if you give this thing a couple hours over water, it could do something. I mean, just looking at these spots here. We're going to be losing satellite. I mean, this thing is convecting. I mean, it is just convecting. I mean, you got the spin and everything, and I think we are on a westerly track. I don't think this is shifting northwest anymore. I think we are going straight west, if not a little bit to the southwest, which puts this coming right out of Panama, or headed towards Panama here. This is going to look a lot different tomorrow morning, I think, too. Just watching it. I don't know the speed of it. There's not really a definite speed right now because Hurricane Hunter Recon hasn't gone in there yet. This will be the last time we see it until tomorrow morning because the sun's setting. Isn't it just satisfying to watch this, guys? I mean, it's not sad there. It's not good that it's happening, but... Do I make tacos or hamburgers for dinner? Ooh. I've got 2 cheeseburgers to eat for dinner, so... Yeah, tornado warning in South Dakota. Sorry, let me get back to that real quick. That one should have been expiring. It's about to expire, I should say here. Got about 14 minutes on this 1 year Platte Colony is where that's at. Looks to be most of the rotations fizzled out. We'll go back to it here in just a minute, Megan. I love watching them too. I love it. It's just crazy to watch them. Okay, so 70-mile-an-hour winds now coming out of this line segment as expected. Some individual rotation here. Like I said, the Platte Colony Eagle Ola tornado warning should be expiring here in the next 13 minutes. I'm going to check back down here on our other storms. I wonder if this is almost trying to get its own mezzo to rotate around it. Telling you guys, weather is just intriguing. Oh, there is the fresh radar update. Jeez Louise. Yeah, so we're definitely getting some 70s in there, that's for sure.
A new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
Well, that's for Wyoming. That's the other risk zones that are out today. Got some wind up here today in Wyoming. Chicago, you guys are good until tomorrow. Jada, you'll have a tornado threat, a wind threat, and a hail threat tomorrow after 2 p.m. Central or Eastern time. But I want to go back to this. I mean, I'm just... What do y'all think in chat? Like, what do you guys think? Like, this is I'm just questioning. Like, what do you guys think? Do I got any other weather peeps in here? What are y'all thinking? Bounce some ideas around here. We thinking this thing's gonna develop or not? I mean, it's like 50-50 odds at this point. I mean, it's got beautiful circulature spin to it. The vorticity on this thing is, it looks like a pinwheel spinning. That's what I'm saying. It's just, I've got a weird feeling about it. I mean, there's not a lot of convection up here, but you're starting to see that convection kind of spread out here. You've got so much bubbling convection ongoing here. And that low is just spinning. That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys know from a weather forecasting thing, like, you never want to call something when you're not confident on it, but then again too, you worry about not calling it and telling people it's going to do something. So it's like I said, that's why I go off of like NHC and the actual like experts that, you know, that put this information out. But I'm not going to get on here and tell somebody there's a 100% chance of a tropical storm developing when there's not a 100% chance. Like, clearly there's still question marks on it, but well, just looking at the low, I mean, it doesn't look like it's shifting northwest anymore. It looks like it's just going straight west, which means the low would be off the coastline by this time tomorrow morning. which gives this time to strengthen. I mean, then you've got just open waters out in front of this thing. Not a lot of land interaction. You got a little bit of land interaction on the panhandle there, but then this is just a straight shot to New Orleans. That's what I'm thinking. It's just weird. It's all weird. I think it's just a weird feeling I got. Like, you guys know, I've covered, Rochelle knows this and the weather team knows this, we've covered some wild storms that weren't supposed to strengthen, and they strengthened anyways, and it's just like, what do you do with a coastal storm sitting on, what do you do with something like this? Like, I think this is the first time I've watched an invest develop off the South Carolina coastline, move southwest towards Florida, becoming an invest with no model guidance, basically supporting it, and then still breathing and pumping life into itself as it's moving over land in Florida. Like, it's just weird. Not like from a weather standpoint weird, but like what I'm saying is like it's just weird from a forecasting standpoint. Like, what do you say? What do you do? Because you don't want to steer people the wrong way. I have the same amount of information and data that any other TV meteorologist is going to give you guys. We look at the same thing. And it's just like, what call do you make? But geez, this thing is just cranking. So, yeah, and these water temps are just, they're booking it. The anomalies are very supportive. I mean, the second that this low crosses over back into the water here, I worry if this were to, like, track just a tiny bit southwest and get out from the panhandle here, then it's going to be great. It's not going to be good either. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I tell people too. So, like I said, I'm telling people prepare worst case scenario for a Cat 1 hurricane if something crazy were to happen. Yeah, water temps 3 to 4 degrees. So yeah, exactly, 100%. I mean, this is a very favorable area, and this is where it's going to track into. Now, like I said, all this is not going to matter. If this low decides to go north and stay inland, none of this is going to matter. But if this low does, in fact, go off the coast, which a lot of models are suggesting it will, that's the problem. I mean, you're working in an environment that is the most favorable in the whole entire Gulf. So you're going to give this thing about a 24 to 72-hour window to do whatever it can do to get itself going before it makes landfall in Louisiana on Thursday night into Friday morning, either as an invest, either as a tropical depression, a storm, or you got odds now of a hurricane at this point. You got a 20% chance of a hurricane developing out of this. So it's not like that's gonna probably happen. I would be shocked if we got a hurricane out of this. I would be losing my marbles personally. But yeah. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be a really interesting day to watch and observe how this plays out for sure. We'll be getting air recon in. We'll be on here all day tomorrow talking about this. It'll be definitely one to watch for sure. So, but enjoy the satellite imagery, guys, because this is going to go away here pretty soon. We'll have to go back to long wave view. Hi from Florida. What's up, my Florida peeps? You guys can't tell me this is not satisfying to watch, though, watching a tropical system get itself together. It's always interesting to watch these things. You got an arc of thunderstorms out in front of it here. All right, let me go ahead and switch back over to our radar coverage. We no longer have a tornado warning, which is good. We'll be keeping out here an eye for the damaging wind threat that's going to be associated with these storms here. We'll go back and take a look at the radar. And yeah, we've still got some 60 and 70 mile per hour winds. Southern storm is producing golf ball size hail and 60 mile per hour winds. Got a line of storms here producing 70s, torpasses. So far forecast is going the way it's supposed to go. Got that new severe thunderstorm watch in Wyoming. Thank you guys for the follows. I do appreciate it. Yeah, Minnesota, you are in the marginal risk and a marginal and a slight risk for most of Minnesota. Minneapolis is in a marginal risk for wind and hail. Northeastern Minnesota, just north of Minneapolis, in a slight risk for tornadoes, wind, and hail. Yeah, for our Florida people, just the flooding threat is your biggest thing. Yeah, the good news is Florida will be moving out. All right. Yeah, it'll be a Gulf coastline. That's very true too, babe. Yep. There'll be a Gulf coastline thing then in most of Florida. Let me get a look at these updated rainfall totals too. See if we've got anything wonky. Oh God, not another one. The end of the GFS run for next week's now showing another one of these happening off the coast of the Carolinas. I think that's just the 18Z though, hopefully. I'll show you guys. This is the latest run here. Watch the 18Z coming in. Watch this cold front that's going to come through at the end of the weekend here. Going into early next week, you'll see a low that will spin up here. I'll show you guys here. Ready? Hold on. I may have another one to watch. Wait for it. Here it comes. That's next. This is next Monday. Kind of just meandering once again. Something to watch for again. All over again. Yeah, it says 7, Brian. It'll be 7, so we got about an hour. Take a look at the upper level pattern here real quick. What's up, Sierra? This troughing pattern next week is going to be interesting as heck to watch. And it's all going to start on Saturday, like this Saturday. We'll have, going into Saturday, we'll have an advancing trough. Could bring some severe weather up here, maybe some severe weather up here. And then going into Sunday, we'll have an organized potential severe weather event, maybe in the Ohio Valley, the northern Ohio Valley here. And then our next big system for next week, this is really the end of next week or end of next week, beginning of next week that I want to watch. But this trough that's going to come in on Monday and Tuesday looks beautiful in terms of northwesterly to west to easterly flow here. This will help promote damaging winds over top of a ridge. If you're anywhere in this area here that I've circled, you need to be weather aware next week. Definitely going to be looking at the potential for some significant severe weather, I think, in the form of damaging winds more than likely. It'll be the Dakotas. It'll be Minnesota, Wisconsin. We'll have extreme instability values. We've got a huge high pressure that's going to be dominating most of the country here. I mean, it's just going to support a pretty ridged out event here. So we'll be watching this area very, very closely going into next week. I know a lot of people are like, not me circling you guys. I'm sorry. I promise I don't. I'm not trying to. And then we really get into this pattern going into the last week of July. I mean, this would be derecho-like material right here. I mean, you get those northwesterly to southeasterly flowing events underneath of a ridge. Maybe even get some mesoscale days back down here again into the Four Corners for some monsoons. But this is definitely something we're going to watch. So that'll be going into next week there. Just something to take a notice on. Yeah, derechos are wild events. Today is actually the 1-year anniversary of the Chicago derecho that happened last year. So if you take a look at the 850 millibar as well, just kind of give it an idea of where our low-level spin might be at with this. Really not seeing too much of anything super, super crazy. Tomorrow, a little bit of a low-level jet on Wednesday across, Minnesota, not Minnesota, but Wisconsin, Illinois. And then we get into the weekend here, maybe a little bit of severe weather tornado-wise in the Dakotas and Nebraska on Thursday. And then we get into the weekend here, and we'll be really watching going more towards Sunday. I think Sunday and Sunday night into Monday, we'll kind of have 2 different pieces of energy coming in. We'll have the one down here that we'll be watching across the plains, and then Morley looking at over here. This is mostly going to be ridged. So the severe weather would be accompanied to the Dakotas again going into Sunday, going into Monday. And then another big day. It would be Tuesday, Wednesday next week that I really want to watch for. Maybe some mesoskill down here. Another one up here. Going into early next week, and then we'll have. See if we get anything else. Yeah, I'm just not seeing a lot of like tornado potential. But look at this. That's that low that's trying to get going again off the coast again. So it's like it's like July wants to produce these close to home tropical systems, which is kind of interesting. Then again, this model's still updating, so. Yeah, the Ohio Valley is going to get a lot of rain. The rainfall totals are going to increase through the week here. I mean, our dew points are going to be well into the upper 70s, pushing 80s, especially even into next week. Will definitely be supportive for, significant rainfall totals potentially in the future here. But just looking at these dew points next week, I mean, we're talking 83, 84-degree dew points in southern Illinois next Thursday. I mean, this is insane. I mean, PWAT values are going to be through the roof. It's just, can the thunderstorms develop with these? So it's a lot of moisture sitting over the Ohio Valley going in toward the 3rd to 4th week of July here, and that'll continue through much of the rest of the month. So yeah, it's gonna be a wild next couple of weeks. Let's take a look at this instability again. Yeah, I mean, these values are just a little bit up there. So we'll be watching. We'll be keeping an update that for you guys. We'll be watching the troughing pattern, all that stuff. Definitely looking at some significant ridging again, back as we go toward the end of the month here. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Yeah, so we no longer have any tornado warnings. Those have expired. We've got 60 and 70 mile an hour severe thunderstorm warnings as of right now. Some of these are Tor-Pos up near Lake Platte. Mitchell, you got a storm just to the west of here. A line of storms producing damaging winds up to 70 and possibly an isolated tornado. So we'll see. And there it is. Yeah, that just came out. So new severe thunderstorm warning here for the next 58 minutes. We got Armour, Lake Andes, Marty, Plankton, and Mitchell. We're still getting some pretty strong winds out of Thedford. Definitely, this thing is massive. Massive storm. Minnesota mostly is good. There's no warnings in Minnesota. We got general rain showers out there. Severe thunderstorm warning up here near Hayward, Wisconsin. But other than that, you guys are fine. So what I'm probably going to do, guys, is I'll probably get off here and take a little break in about 10 minutes. We'll kind of watch things happen here and see how things kind of evolve. Get a quick bite to eat, come back on stream, because we're going to have to get the kids fed and stuff, too. And then we'll get back on here again in just a little bit, and I want to talk tonight, too, when we get our overnight models in, because our overnight models will be key to kind of figuring out what's going to happen with this system as well. Kind of give us some new data coming in. So make sure you guys do hit that follow button if you guys haven't subscribed to me on YouTube as well. We'll get off here in about 10-ish minutes or so, kind of get a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back. We've been on here for about 3 hours, so. See what happens. Be watching this line of storms here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Guys, this is in the plains. This is nowhere in Indiana. So if you're in Indiana, you're okay. Jessa's not on. No, I don't think so. No. Yeah, Houston's fine, guys. Houston's fine. There's so many false accusations and so many false people out there that are saying there's a hurricane coming to Houston. There's not a single model run that even has a storm near Houston. You guys are going to be fine in Houston, I promise. Brian, that's actually interesting too, because I actually was thinking about that in the back of my head, so I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked to see that at all whatsoever. I think you're pretty right on with that. I could see that. Yep, no problem. No problem, guys. All right. So once again, guys, if you're in stream here, we'll be getting off here in just a few minutes. Gonna get off, eat something, take a little bit of a break, and we'll get back on and we'll do an update. I'm gonna digest some information, get some updates, and kind of just get some new information, and that way we'll have it. That way you guys can have something else to talk about when we get back on here. Not that we don't have enough to talk about anyway. So Ohio, you're gonna be good. You got some marginal severe weather over the next 2 days. Wind and hail will be your primary threats for much of Ohio. So. You guys can hear Hazel laughing. Yeah, she's freaking sweet. We love her. So, alrighty, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap stream up here, get some updates in. I will see you guys all back in here again in just a little bit. We'll have some new updates, some new information out. If you guys are out in these risk zones, like I said, damaging winds is the primary threat for the rest of the evening here. 60 to 70, maybe some 80+ mile-an-hour winds embedded in here. We'll actually be moving most of these storms through the enhanced risk over the next hour or two, so we won't be gone super long. Other than that, I appreciate the love, the follows, the taps, the gifts. As always, my new subscribers, thank you. And we'll see you guys back in here again in just a little bit for a nighttime update. Be safe, everyone.